So I got into franchising in 2018. It was interesting because we actually were, my wife and I were on vacation in Maui, Hawaii, and we had 5 corporate locations at that time, all in the Myrtle Beach, South Carolina area. And so we knew we wanted to open more locations, but it was either, do we go franchising or do we go with additional corporate locations? And so where I got into it was initially we were sitting at a restaurant in Maui, and we're like, where do you want to raise our kids for the rest of our life? We've got 3 little ones, and we both said Charlotte. So we moved to Charlotte and said, let's set up a prototype of all the good from our previous locations, get rid of some of the headaches and whatnot, and really made ourselves passive owners in those locations, launched a prototype, and then started reaching out to carve up our FDD. And we actually created our FDD while we were on a 12-week cross-country tour in an RV, really going from, I was doing some motivational speaking from here to New York all the way to the West Coast. So that was my first introduction into franchising. And so it was like, let's franchise this concept. And never had the opportunity to really be in it other than diving straight into it as a franchisor. What I love about franchising is it's so broad, but at the same time, it's such a small knit community. And so, everybody from that works within franchising, somehow we seem to connect, whether it's at conferences, whether it's via social media or whatever it is. But it's also the power of partnering with, people who taking teachers and making teachers into millionaires. That's been done several times over within the fitness industry and within franchising, I'm sure. So the ability to really take somebody as a great operator, but give them framework and to partner with them on that and do that so that they can really focus in on the people, the sales and the marketing, and take all of the tools that we've developed as a brand and go to market with them. That's what I love most about it. It gives people framework and to go pour into people, lead people, and then execute so that they can live out their dreams of whether it's being financial free or creating asset or whatever it is. The people that are the greatest fits for franchising are people that, the old phrase of, you're going into business for yourself, but not by yourself. And so people that can execute, people that have a level of grit. I always talk about, I'm actually just walking out of Discovery Day about an hour ago and just talked about this with our candidates. And it's people that are great leaders. And, I believe everything rises and falls on leadership. It's a John Maxwell quote, but it's so true. If you're not a great leader, then at the end of the day, you're going to have a hard time building and retaining a team. So people that are great leaders, people that can stay within the framework of what the brand is doing, but also provide feedback and to the franchisor and want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And lastly, people that want to create an asset for themselves, because that's essentially what you're doing with building. So, at the end of the day, I think there's so many different personality types, but there are some consistent key characteristics of what would make a good franchisee and what would not. The industry's comeback from the pandemic is what I can speak of what we're seeing in our facilities. We're super exceeding membership numbers, sales numbers than pre-pandemic. And whether that's the industry or whether that's our modality, in that, our modality is coach-led sessions and not, we're not siloed into a bike or a treadmill or something like that. But, I think as an industry as a whole, talking with colleagues and that are in other brands and concepts, they're doing well. And the way that it's really impacted, I think, the industry is it's elevated the level in which boutique fitness has to deliver to people, because we're fighting people's time, right? And it's very easy for them to roll out of bed, hop on a Peloton, and then get in the shower, and that's 1 hour. But what what will not replace boutique fitness is community. And if it's done right, then at the end of the day, we're meant to do life together. It's in our human nature. And so people will always revert back to boutique fitness, but gosh, your standard in your product has to be at an all-time high. And so I think it's a good thing, right? It's elevated in everything in how we handle an experience of every member and how consistent we have to be. So, I always like to look at the good or the opportunity in the obstacle. And it also really showed, from a mental health standpoint, how important fitness is, and from a community standpoint, and how we all seek community, whether we like to say it or not, we all need it in a big way. So my advice for other young, whether it's entrepreneurs, young franchisors, is to get people around you that have already experienced and accomplished where you want to go. Right. So we look at, for instance, our COO was a senior VP in another boutique fitness brand that took it from 17 to 270 units, then went on to be a COO at Clean Juice. And so now she's leading our operations. And so it's invest heavy in people, in the infrastructure and the foundation of your team so that you can scale fast. Don't try and figure everything out on your own, because though you may be incredibly smart and can figure it out, it's just going to take you a lot longer. And so really surround yourself with people that have been there and have confidence in yourself that you can deliver, because a lot of people that have, like myself, I can open a facility and do all of that, for many years. But when I actually go into franchising is its own industry with different vehicles of products, whether it's home service, fitness, you name it. It's its own industry, and you have to really learn that industry. And to me, the best way to do that is get around people that have already accomplished that, and then you're able to take advantage of their networks as well.